today I want to talk about how choosing our path more fully, that sometimes that can be the bravest thing we could ever do. And when this message started coming through for me yesterday morning, it came in like a lightning strike. Or more like a wave. It just kept coming and more and more and more. And I've been marinating on this for the past 2 days. And so rather than trying to remember or reactivate how I received it, I was intuitively led to share it with you in the way that I received it. I do have my computer right here. I've tried to position it to where I can look at you the vast majority of the time, but you will see me referring to my computer because for some reason, like with everything I share, with everything in my work, somebody needs to hear it. And with this message in particular, somebody needs to hear it in the exact way that it came to me. And so I don't want to skew it in any way. And I'm really excited. I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful for this message. I'm grateful for us being able to discover what it means and what it looks like for us to choose our path more fully. And so yesterday in my post, I shared about this moment. And sometimes this moment can be bold, sometimes it can be quiet. But it's this moment where we stop choosing the outcome and we start choosing the path. When you stop choosing what's impressive and start choosing what's alive. Where you stop choosing what they will clap for and start choosing what you'll never regret giving your heart to. Where you stop choosing the version of you that fits and start choosing the one that's free. Where you stop choosing perfection and you start choosing presence. Where you stop choosing comfort and start choosing congruence. What's in alignment with you? What's in alignment for you? Where you stop choosing what worked last time or what has always worked and start choosing what is right this time, what is right now in this season, with where I am, with where my heart is, where you stop choosing the pattern and start choosing the new way forward, even if it's unfamiliar, even if no one gets it, even if, and especially if it does not make sense on paper, if no one has ever done it before, if you haven't seen it be done before, that you choose it. Where you stop choosing what looks the part and start choosing what plays the part. The soul part, the sacred part, the part that only you can move forward. Where you stop choosing the timeline and you start choosing truth, your knowingness, your calling, your heart. Where you stop choosing the plan B and start choosing the reason you showed up in the first place. Woo! Woo! Can I get an amen, somebody, on all of that? Yes. It's this moment where sometimes it's brave, sometimes it's bold, sometimes it's quiet, sometimes you see it coming, sometimes you can't see it coming. Sometimes it takes years to get to this moment. Sometimes it just happens. Even if it was built through every detour, every recalibration, every step that didn't make sense at the time, even when you didn't realize the season you are entering in, even if there's this moment that even if it took us years to get here and to arrive, it is still a moment of decision, a moment of clarity, a moment of remembering, a moment of things making sense in a way that they haven't made sense before, a moment of coming home and coming into this knowing, a moment where you stop choosing the measurable and you start choosing the magnetic that's alive in you, that you feel in you, the magnet that only you can feel. And other people can be drawn to the magnet. They may not know why they're drawn to the magnet, but you hold the magnet. And it's that moment where we get to recognize the magnet and choose the magnet. Choose what is magnetic. And the thing about this moment is that no one can hand it to us. Nobody can orchestrate this moment. Nobody can force us into this moment. Nobody can make us decide and make us choose. It can't be templated. It has to be earned. And earned through our becoming. Not in the sense of us getting things right. Not in the sense of us getting things right like a kid who earns some extra screen time or a lollipop. But in the sense of you've been doing the work. You've been getting to know yourself. You've been walking your path. And because of that, this moment where you get to stop choosing and start choosing, it's a byproduct. It's a soul graduation. It's a reward, if you will. But it can't be forced. It can't be templated. That my moment of choosing and my moment of choosing more fully can't be the same as your moment of choosing. That it's a soul graduation, chosen through the fire of your own clarity, your own walking of the path. And it's this moment where from the level that you used to operate in, who you used to be, entering into the level that you're waiting to rise into, that you're becoming, that you are rising into, that you are getting to. And it's this moment that is a symbolism of that transition, that evolution, that growth. And with each level of growth, each level of our rising, there are going to be more and more moments where we get to choose. And it's empowering. And it's freeing. And sometimes these moments are hard. Sometimes it means letting go of what was to step into what is and to embrace what is. But in any case, it's a moment of widened sight, where our sight becomes more clear, where we are able to see more fully. And as we rise into these next levels, the more we can see in a way that we were not given access to before, that our eyes become more clear, that we see things from another dimension, not because of where we was wrong, but it's a moment of graduation where our soul has graduated and now we are able to see. because we couldn't have seen from that level. We couldn't have seen from that floor. Not because where we was wrong, but because we were able to own the clarity at which the floor we were on. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I know there are others that it's going to resonate with. I can feel it in me tripping over my words. That's my energy flowing through. That's God speaking through me and my physical human words not being able to catch up fast enough. My brain not being able to compute it and process it. But there's this moment that I'm talking about. It's a moment of realignment, a moment of sovereignty with who we are, where we get to stop choosing what's been and we start choosing what will be, and what will be on this floor, in this room, in this knowing, at this position of clarity and alignment that we have been entrusted with for this period of time until we graduate into the next one. Not because it's easy, not because we're privileged, but because it's guaranteed. Because this kind of clarity, any kind of clarity, is a reward. It's a byproduct. And once we are given the level of clarity that we have, we can't go back. We can't unsee. We can't go back down to the next floor. Because once we rise to the next level of our becoming, there is no running back down the stairs. There is no riding down the stairs on your sleeping bag. There is no going back down the stairs to even get a drink of water. No, that once we go to another floor, we stay at this floor. And it's important for us to stay at this floor and to not go back down to the other floor of where we used to live, where we used to hang out, the things that used to be important to us. They can't serve that purpose anymore, because this floor has its own things that it wants us to see, that it needs us to see. And how can we be fully devoted to this floor, this path, this position of evolution if we keep tiptoeing back downstairs in the middle of the night? Mom, can I have some water? Dad, will you come lay with me? We get to stay on our floor. And it's once the moment comes where we choose, where we choose the path rather than the outcome, where we choose this dream, this calling, this life rather than that one, that once we choose, right? We decide and we go. It's a declaration within ourselves that this is the path, this is the way, this is the floor I am on. And I owe it to myself, I owe it to my purpose, I owe it to the life that I feel led to create and build. I owe it to stay on this floor and honor this floor as best I can. And yes, there will be human moments where we do go back down the stairs. And even when we do, we can still know which floor we're ultimately living on, which floor we're staying on, which floor is ours to own at this moment and in this season. That just because we have a weak moment, have a human moment, doesn't deter us from our path. If anything, it allows us to choose again and to keep choosing the path that we're on and the path that we're going. And it strengthens our alignment. It solidifies our conviction inside of ourselves. It builds our belief for where we are. But energetically, if we have a lot of maybes, if we have a lot of going back to old ways of doing things, old ways of thinking, every maybe weakens our yes. Every half in pulls us out of the ability to go all in. Every tiptoeing back down the stairs keeps the temptation alive inside of us. Because for a lot of people, they're still living on the floor that you were on, and they're partying and they're dancing, and sometimes you can even hear the music, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to join them. Let me go hang out with them for a little while. Let me see what's going on. And that temptation is real and it's alive. And sometimes we might go back down. We might stand at the top of the steps looking down, trying to hear what's going on. But ultimately, we can't go back and live there. Because that is what weakens our yes. That is what causes us to go half in. That is what keeps the temptation alive inside of us. And how this came through for me yesterday was when I had thoughts of, now I don't even remember the exact thoughts, but it was this moment of the inner critic, the what if, the hows, the whens, the wheres, you know what I'm talking about. It was just this moment. And this moment, just like I'm talking about right now, where I could have continued operating on that floor, operating at that level, operating in the what ifs and the hows and the whens and the wheres, and I could have gone about my day thinking about them. But I had this moment where I got to stop choosing the old pattern and I got to start choosing the new way, the way that I'm doing things. I can recognize that my mind might still be living on the third floor, but where I'm operating and where I'm going to be operating and where I want to become easier and more automatic for me to operate, more natural, more ease-filled, is on floor 4. And so yes, having a moment of recognizing where my mind is on the 3rd floor, but also reminding myself that's not ultimately where I'm operating. And when we have this type of clarity and conviction inside of ourselves to where we can own the path, we can own the floor, we can own the decision and the choice, where we get to say, this is it. This is how things are going to be. It's that same moment where you stop asking for permission. And you cue in God, the universe, source. You allow them to be your backup. You become a match to their support, to their guidance. And it's when you flip the switch, So it's like You're supporting a friend who's going through a breakup. We've all been there, right? The first time it happens and you go through the breakup, it's you're bringing the tissues, you're bringing the ice cream, you're going to the bar, maybe you're going bungee jumping, you're skydiving, you're there. You are all the way there. Then they go back and they break up again. The second time, you're there, but maybe you trade bungee jumping in for barbecue. You're like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing something crazy and off the charts. I'm not going to be there for you like I was before. Because is this for real? Are you really owning this decision? Are you really owning this floor that you're on? And then they go back. And the third time, they break up. And you're like, I have this thing. My day has been planned. I'm sorry. I'm there for you in spirit and in love. So when we operate like that, how can God source the universe truly back us up? And what is it backing us up on? If we don't know for sure, then how is God supposed to know? Because clarity changes things. Clarity leads. Clarity calls in everything else into alignment. Everything around you. When you are clear, your world is clear. Things that you don't even realize are in your world get clear on where you're going. And it's where your definitive, all in, heck yes, this is the path, this is it. It goes from not just a decision, but devotion. A devotion to your work, a devotion to the life you want, a devotion to your purpose and your calling, a devotion to what you want and who you want to be. And when there are no other options, when you break up with the version of you that needed backup plans, you break up with the version of you from the first floor, the second floor, when the door to the first floor gets bolted shut, you shift from I've decided to I'm devoted. I am devoted. I am here and I am all in, no matter what. No matter what. I remember when Doug and I first started dating and I had other options. I had backup options. I kept them on the back burner. They served as my back burner options. Just in case things didn't work out. I could explore some other possibilities. But at some point, I had to choose. I had to let go of the backup plans. I had to stop flirting with just in case it doesn't work out. Just in case this isn't forever. Just in case I get disappointed again. And I had to start building and focusing on what I really wanted. Him. The life that we were going to build and create together, whatever that looked like. And 18 years later, I still choose him. I am still choosing him. Because when you have other options, and when there's a door that you haven't fully closed, when you leave a little space for maybe, for what if, for just in case, you start downplaying your desire. You strip away, little by little, the conviction that you could have for something that you could possibly have if it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go. You dilute your power. You scatter your focus. Rather than zeroing in and narrowing in on the one thing that you really do want, the one thing that you would choose if you could, if you knew it wouldn't fail, if you knew it was a guarantee. When we internally leave options, other options, backdoor options of what ifs, we rob ourselves the chance of the conviction that comes when we choose. When we choose our path, when we choose the thing we want, when we choose the thing that we can't stop thinking about, when we choose the thing that excites us, the thing that we really want. And so we can build a life that is full of impressive results and still be detached from our soul. You could choose every quote unquote metric and miss the magic that only alignment can give you. You could keep all the doors open and wonder why none of them feel like home. Because the door is open in the first place. The door is open in the first place. And no one's going to shut that door for us. People can encourage us to. They can hint at it. If anything, people are going to contribute to you leaving the door open. Not because they don't love you, not because they don't want what's best for you, but because they don't know what's inside of you. They don't know the things that you're hearing. They don't know the things that you're desiring. They don't have access to that. It's yours. It's yours. And only you know that. And you might say, I am so afraid of closing the doors. I am so afraid of going all in. I am so afraid of dedicating my heart to something only to be hurt again, only to be disappointed, only for things to not go the way that I want them to go. So what if I just leave one foot in just in case? Just in case. And I get that. Oh my gosh, I get that. And it's real. And when we're in that place, if you're in that place right now, I want to honor and acknowledge you for being there because it's hard. It's hard going all in on something when you have so much evidence for why it could fail. It's hard to choose one floor when you might be the only one living on that floor and everyone else is downstairs partying. And those 1 foot in moments, those 1 foot in the door just in case moments, those options, those back burner moments, it's not out of laziness. It's not out of even indecision. Sometimes it can be a trauma response. to avoiding disappointment again. That we've been disappointed and let down so many times before. I'm just going to leave it open a little bit. I'm going to leave other options on the table. I'm going to have a plan B because I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't know if I can handle that again. And that's your nervous system doing its job. It's protecting you. So it's not out of laziness. It's not out of indecision. It's out of you being there for you. And you being there for you in the only way you know how at this moment. And that is nothing to hide behind. That is nothing to be embarrassed about or ashamed about. It's not because you don't want to choose. It's because you don't want to grieve that disappointment again. You don't want to grieve that letdown, that rejection again. And so the just in case, I'm going to keep this over here. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to tiptoe. I'm going to go half in. And then when it proves that it's going to go the way that I want it to go, then I will go all in. From my experience, healing and growth comes when we're willing to choose a new way. When we're willing to put down the shield and the protection of what other options give us, what having other options gives us. And sometimes we're flirting with other options. Sometimes we're flirting with the previous level, the previous position, the previous relationship. Not necessarily because they're better, but because they let us delay the emotional risk of what it means to be fully seen, of what is required when we go all in. That level of commitment and devotion and unwaveringness. Even if, regardless, that unwavering devotion of going all in and choosing your path and owning your path, keeping the door open to the first floor, that delays us a little bit longer. It allows us to stay uncommitted just enough. Unexposed, untouched, safe. Where when we choose a path, when we choose a purpose, when we choose something that we want, there's vulnerability there. You could be known as that person who does the thing. People are watching you. You don't know what people are thinking. You don't know if anyone's going to be standing with you. You don't know what it's going to look like. It might look the way you want it to. It might look completely different. It might look nothing like the way you wanted it to. And that's vulnerable. That's scary. That's real. That's raw. That's exposed. And so us giving ourselves other options is an opportunity for us to delay that conviction, that unwaveringness, just a little bit longer. Let me hang out here for a little bit longer. Let me feel this safety and this comfort just a little bit longer. And over the past 18 years of choosing Doug, it means choosing him when we see things differently. Choosing him when it's hard. Choosing him when it's easy. Choosing him when it's real. Choosing him when it's fun. It means choosing him, choosing him, choosing him, choosing him. The same thing with my work. The same thing with my mission and what I'm here to bring to this world. It means choosing it no matter what happens. Hold on one second. I have a visitor. Yes, sir.
TV.
How much time do you guys have in your available screen time?
32 more 30 minutes.
Okay. If you will, go set a timer, please.
For 30 minutes?
Yes. Yes.
Ben 10.
And when we fully choose what we want, our calling, our purpose, our dream, the thing that we desire, the thing that we feel pulled towards, sometimes it can threaten an identity that we have still been holding on to, going back to that safety. That it's been safe to operate at the first floor. There are a lot of people at the first floor. There's a lot of things that I've come to learn and come to know at the first floor. When I go to the second, oh man. Oh, doggy's granny. I don't know what's up there. I don't know what's entailed in that identity to own it. I don't know what it means to fully choose my path and to go forth in complete confidence and knowing. Completely all in on whatever it looks like, and on whatever this floor and this level of growth, whatever it brings, that I'm all in. So let me just hang out in this identity for a little bit longer. Because if I go all in on this and it doesn't work, who will I be? What will that say about me? That I'm a failure? That I'm a disappointment? That somebody's disappointed in me? That I heard incorrectly? That's a lot. It's a lot to hold. It's a lot to walk with. It's a lot to carry. It's a lot to choose. It's a lot to keep alive. But that's where becoming begins. That's where growth begins. That's the moment you start walking up the stairs to the next level. It was when you acknowledge those questions, you acknowledge those thoughts. It's not a sign that where you are is wrong and what you're doing is wrong. It's an indication that you're going in the direction of your next level, of your next identity, of your next evolution. And that awareness of it, that acknowledgement of it is something to celebrate. Those are the Instagram-worthy moments. The real moments of celebration. And when you're here to live your purpose, your life's work, your mission, to build your vision, to carry something sacred forward, that nudge inside of you. When there's something that you really want, that you're really excited about more than anything, and maybe it's a dream that you can't stop thinking about. Maybe it's a knowing that won't settle. When we entertain these other options, the options say, maybe this fire isn't real. Maybe I'm not hearing correctly. Maybe I'm a little off my rocker. Maybe I should fall back on something more reasonable. Maybe I should walk through the door and stay on the first floor. But what if there was no plan B? What if you didn't have 1 foot in the door just in case, or 1 foot out the door just in case? What if there wasn't anything on the back burner? What if there was a moment where you started moving like your calling was already written? The very fact that you heard it, that you received it, was the proof you needed, was proof enough. And that each time you choose your calling, not only do you get a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger in choosing your path and choosing the direction you're going, but God's source in the universe has the ability to back you up and keep surrounding you with the guidance and the support and the lessons and the growth that you need to evolve into the person your calling requires. So what if you had that moment? What if there was a moment when you stopped making decisions like the thing you want was optional? The going after what you want was optional. What if there was a moment where you decided the work that you were here to bring forth in this world is a non-negotiable? Non-negotiable. What if you had that moment? What if you had this moment where you stopped choosing and stopped entertaining those options and you went all in on your calling? You went all in on this level, all in on this floor. That no matter what you experienced on that floor, that you were here for it and you were going to embrace it. And you were going to keep choosing that floor you're on, inevitably knowing that there's going to be another floor and another floor and another and another. And as I say, you just keep walking through those invisible doors. And before you know it, there's a moment where you pause, you turn around, and you don't know how you got here. You're amazed at how many quiet thresholds you have crossed. You're amazed at the clarity and the growth that you've received. You're amazed that it has all led to this and this and this and this. And you never saw it coming. You just kept walking. You just kept stepping. You just kept going, kept owning, kept choosing. And no matter what, I might be by myself. I may be showing up as a party of one up here. I might be this, I might be that. There might be this storm, there might be that storm. I might have to let go of this person. Might have to let go of this thought. Might have to let go of this identity. I might have to step into this identity. I might have to do this and do that. No matter what. It's my party on this floor. It's my party. That my energy won't be leaked to the illusion of escapes. That your exit isn't going to be something you plan for. Where you root down and say, this is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm here to do. This is who I'm here to be. This is the choice I'm meant to make. This is the path I'm meant to walk down. Period. End of story. A literal period at the end of that sentence. That I don't want to escape it. I don't want to go back downstairs. I don't need a glass of water in the middle of the night anymore. I have what I need. And I need to embody it. I need to own it. Because what becomes possible when there's no longer a back door? When there's no longer an option to go back downstairs? And options aren't wrong. They're not trade-offs. Some people love options. They scroll on Amazon. All those options. The customizing. The pages and pages and pages they get to look through of all of those options. Other people like me, I just naturally get frazzled. Too many options, I'm overwhelmed. Give me 1, 2, and 3. But either way, we have a tendency, we can lose ourselves in the options, right? And options, they're not wrong. They're paths. And each one of those paths, it leads somewhere. So the question for us becomes, which path leads you closer to the life you want? Which one brings you into deeper alignment with who you are, who you want to be, your truth? Which one moves you in the direction of the vision that is calling you forward? Which path are you going to take? And sometimes it's not about having it all figured out. Sometimes it's just about choosing this step and then this step and this step and staying with it. So that even if we have to work our 9 to 5 for a little while, even if we have to do this or this or this, or even if it looks like this for a little while, that we know internally we are still choosing our path. Because our focus is devoted. And we know what floor we're living on and what floor we're operating on. And we know that the job is temporary. We know that this choice is temporary. And so we allow it to be temporary. And we allow it to affect us in a way that's temporary. We don't get too attached. We don't let it distract us and sway us. That we keep choosing and we keep choosing and we keep choosing. Because sometimes staying on the path, it's not about choosing perfection, but about choosing presence. Not about pressure, but participation. Not force, but faith. You're not flaky. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're not messing it up, and you can't mess it up. You've just been offered 1,000 doors. We all have. The power is in deciding which door we're going to choose. which door we're going to walk through. And then we get to choose again and again and again and again. And so after a few of those doors, you've chosen your path, and you've chosen it on purpose, and that you know where you're going. There's no question. There's no denying. It's not a decision. It's a devotion. It's not something you can turn off. You can't entertain another option. There is no, what else would I do? There is no, what's going to be different 5 years from now. It's this. Just better, just more aligned, just more present, just more refined, more tuned, more calibrated, more truth, more faith, more trust. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you've decided, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm choosing. This is the path that I'm staying on. And so you own it. Not with gritted teeth. Not with hustle. Not with one foot out the door just in case. But with devotion. Devotion of heart. Devotion of belief. Devotion of presence. Devotion of knowing. Devotion of clarity. And the clarity that you have at this time. And you own that clarity, that level of clarity for what it is. You allow yourself to see that sight. And knowing that the life you want, what you feel called to, what you feel pulled towards, isn't on the other side of keeping your options open. It's on the other side of walking through the one that's in you, that's always been in you, and allowing yourself to walk through it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If this message resonated with you in any way, I would love and appreciate you sharing it with your audience, or maybe there's a particular person that comes to mind, so that we can continue lighting the path for others. Yeah. And until then, know that your fire is real and the path is yours.